Hey guys, welcome back to Two Homos 100 Thoughts coming to you from Chicago. My name's Raciel.
And this is Armando coming to you from Texas. Y'all should know these things.
And today we're going to just briefly talk about the Oprah interview with Meghan Markle. I know we're a little late on it, but trust us, we're doing the best we can. We both have mixed up schedules, and it's my birthday week, and I did go a little missing for like 24 hours. Armando only had to file a missing persons report to come find me.
I almost got an Amber Alert, and so I realized you were too old for that. But I was this close to reaching out to Mrs. Carmen herself, but I didn't want to have to do all that.
No, I know. Like when I logged back onto my phone, or he like gave me 2 shout outs on Twitter looking for me. Like he a couple wellness checks, which I appreciate. So thank you.
You gotta look out for your friends. If you're watching this, check on your friends if they don't respond. Especially if it's their birthday weekend and they live in Chicago. They could be somewhere in the South Side lost. Just check on them.
His ass was honestly was saying, "Where is my co-host?"
All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started with this Meghan Markle interview. So, Raciel, how was it like seeing Prince Charming on TV? Because let me tell you, Harry is fine.
Oh, really? You think so?
I mean, he's not balding like his brother, that's for sure.
True. I mean, out of him and his brother, he's definitely like the one like you would go for because, like you said, like his brother, you don't balding, no, not cute.
Exactly.
And watching it, I honestly didn't know what to expect, to be honest, because we don't get these kind of interviews like we used to with these reporters, especially like with Oprah. So I didn't know what to expect. I did get excited when she started saying how no question is off limits, and she didn't even know what Oprah was gonna ask. So I was a little shook, and all I thought about was like, oh my god, I hope they don't like send out to kill her. That's all I was thinking. The royals.
That is true, especially with the amount of pressure they're on to like answer. They're truthful, the truth after like all of the tabloids and stuff that's come out. But a part of me is like, if it's really like that, she could have asked about Prince Andrew. You know what I mean? Like, if nothing is off limits, go ahead and ask about the prince on Pedophile Island.
Yeah, I was like a little like taken back that she was saying that she didn't like research the family at all or didn't really look into the royals, which I mean, I guess because I don't really know much about the royals either. Are you surprised about how the UK treated her or the way the royal family treated her? Are you surprised by that?
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, just looking at the history of the family, it's like it depends on white supremacy. If you think about it, like when have you seen a colored royal that isn't from Africa, from a African royal family like Portia's baby daddy or something? Like it doesn't happen. So I think like when she got into it, like she should have known it was gonna be like an uphill battle getting accepted slash having a kid and having the kid accepted as well. It was gonna be an uphill battle, and I don't think she was as prepared as she should have been, and she should have known, if you ask me.
Yeah, she even did talk about that, how she like didn't really know what to expect, even to something as little as like having to curtsy the first time she met his grandma, the queen. So I don't know. I mean, like you said, I'm not that surprised by it because I mean, it's the UK. I feel like obviously they're pretty racist over there. I wouldn't say all, but I would say a good amount. But at least the tabloids were to her. I think that was pretty fucked up how the way they treated her and the fact that no one stood up for her in the family. That's what blew me because I'm like, how are you just gonna see like? And that's where she even said that like everything, like she was hitting her breaking point because no one was like protecting her or no one was like defending her, which I agree, that's fucked up.
We heard like 9 months after she got married or something like that about how she made Kate Middleton cry and it was this big deal over a flower girl dress or something. So she reveals that it was actually the other way around. Kate Middleton made her cry because she was already going through so much. And she was saying like that's something that they could have said like, it didn't quite happen like that. That's not true, but they didn't say anything. They kind of just let everyone believe like, Meghan was a bad guy or something.
Yeah, that was fucked up because I mean, obviously it came from someone who's like in their circle if they knew they said the story, but just the opposite of what happened, you know what I mean? Right. So that's what I don't get. I do wish she gave names and was a little more specific about who was saying but about what, but we can't. I doubt she could do that, but me, I'm just a chismoso and I like to get to the tea because I don't like to think of who said what. I want to know.
Right. Like the biggest accusation she made that I can think of is how there was like discussions behind her back about how dark Archie was going to be and the fact that he wasn't going to be a prince depending on how dark he was. That's like really bold.
Yeah,
You're going to say that we kind of need the name, which I kind of have my suspicions about it. I don't know if we should say because you know it's pretty interesting, but I don't know, like especially when Harry came on and he was so like defensive of them, like kind of like
you
I'm
think he
never
was
gonna.
defensive?
Well, he's kind of said I'm never gonna reveal that conversation, and I'm never gonna say like who had that. So I'm pretty sure that's him in a way protecting the races, as you want to call it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's even crazy. I mean, at least he revealed that him and his dad aren't talking, but I wonder what's like the status with him and his brother.
One thing that stood out immediately was when she was trying to say, you know, how Archie wasn't gonna be a prince and stuff like that, and I thought that was automatic. Like how you're saying, you know, us as Americans, we kind of don't know much about this, but I assumed if Prince Harry or Prince William is going to be your father, you're automatically a prince, but apparently not. I mean, do you think he should be a prince or not? I mean,
That's what I thought. I mean, shouldn't he? Because she even said like her kid was the only kid that was being treated different out of everyone else, and who somehow, for some reason, didn't get a title or wasn't going to receive a title or protection, which is pretty fucked up. Because whether his title or not, they already know what family he's connected to. You know, I honestly, at the end of the day, do think it is about race and the fact that she probably wasn't what they thought was going to marry, because even though it sounds stupid and judgmental, like that she divorced, she's American, she's mixed, and I doubt that's something they looked forward to bring into their family. But I mean, it's 20 at the time, what was it, like 2017 when they got married? Like either way, times are changing. I don't get why it was an issue. Like I remember even then, like one of my coworkers like made a big deal. She's like, "Oh my god, there's a biracial princess," and I honestly didn't even know what a big deal it was till someone said that. You know what I mean? Because it is a big deal for Black people that there was a Black princess. You know, and then even one other coworker jumped in, she's like, "Oh, but she's been married and divorced and blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, why the fuck does that matter?" You know, like you know what I mean? Like people just always want to throw something to like not make it a big deal, but it is a big deal. You know, so I don't know. I think overall that just even something that stood out to me the most was when she talked about how she was suicidal and they refused to give her any help for her mental health. Like that's fucked up.
no,
You
yeah.
know, like that does not look good.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of pretty much like said
She
no
wasn't
to.
trying to leave the family. They just wanted to step back their responsibilities, like the public responsibilities, you know, and then the fact that they seem like to be axed out of the family pretty much. That's really fucked up. Like, how'd you do that to your own kid? You know what I mean? I don't know. Can't relate. That sounds like some white people-ish.
Do you think that him and his brother were always like bound to like kind of like go separate ways because one is one day going to be king and the other one is, you know, kind of not?
Oh, for sure. I think for sure because I don't know. I just they've always seemed, from what I've known, they've always seemed like two different people. I felt like Harry was always more down to earth and more just like pretty much down to earth, and he seemed
Right.
more humble from what it looks like to where his brother kind of just stayed in the palace. From
Mhm.
what I've seen, I feel like Harry kind of has also ventured off and kind of done his own thing, but still kept his title.
Mhm.
You know, so I don't know. Like I think, like I said, like at the end of the day, I'm not really surprised with how everything went down, especially like the way they were treating her. Like when we got the news, what was it, like last year, right before we
Mhm.
went into quarantine, about how she was stepping back from like the royal stuff. Like, were you shocked by that? I wasn't.
Like when she said you like she kind of said like when she kind of went in the palace and those gates closed behind her, it's like they really closed. Like she never saw her passport, her driver's license, her keys. It's like an
Right? I'm like, what is
invasion
she?
of
Is she in the bad
privacy
girls
almost.
club? Like, is she in the bad girls club? Like, why is she turning
Literally,
in her
it's
back
like
for her keys?
literal. Yes, it even made me go look at one of I don't know if you saw it, but Camilla, she was married to a royal also, but she did an Oprah interview and she's like, those rooms that they show you in the palace that are super nice and golden colors and all that, those are like for show. What they sleep in look like maids' quarters or so many misconceptions about the royal family that's like
No, for sure. Like even when something is small, when she's like, even when she wanted to get mental health, like she just can't call an Uber to take her to the hospital. You know, like that's fucked up. Like she really like had no freedom. Like it might have seemed like they were in powerful positions, but at the same time, she had like no power even over herself. You know, like
Yeah.
that's something shitty to think about. Just because like he was probably used to that, but she's always been like independent on her own and stuff. And all of a sudden she marries into this family and she's
Right.
turns sells her soul, you know? That's pretty much what it was. But yeah, that I can't even imagine, like, you know what I mean? Because everyone thinks it's like something different than what it is. You know, like she even said, like perception is not always reality. Which is crazy because something I used to always say is perception is reality, but I guess not in every
It
case.
really isn't. I mean, one thing that did that interview, or at least that part of the interview reminded me of, was when the Supreme Court here in the US, when they passed like marriage equality, and Michelle Obama said in that interview where she tried to go see like the lights because the White House was like in rainbow colored lights, and she wanted to see it. You know, she lived at the White House, and Secret Service didn't like, they wouldn't let her. But instead of saying no to her, they kind of like showed her like a side entrance, and you know, they worked with her rather than isolating her inside and excluding her from everything. So that's kind of one thing that it reminded me of, like Michelle Obama saying that she couldn't leave the White House, but then like they found her a way to enjoy the lights with everyone and kind of normalize it for her and her daughters. The aftermath, you know how they said that they were gonna do like an investigation into like Meghan bullying her like subjects back at the palace. And part of those bullying claims were like that she was emailing them at 2 in the morning with a list of things to do the next day. It's like, is that bullying to you? And if so, please explain.
I don't think that's bullying. I don't know. I hate when people throw out that word bullying. Like I cannot like I don't know. I feel like bullying is literally when someone is defenseless and someone is attacking them. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't know what they mean by bullying, but I honestly, any article that came out about her that was negative, I didn't believe, to be honest, because I saw how harsh they were on her. And Oprah even compared the articles, like they were, her and Kay were in the same situation and how they perceived Kay versus to how they perceived her, even down to like a piece of fucking
Yeah.
avocado toast. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
no, so I don't know. I don't believe it. Do you?
Not at all. I mean, as you mentioned, like there's a way, as you can see, like the exact same story and how they can flip it in favor of one person but not the other. And I mean, if you live in the UK, don't believe the crap you read. Like obviously, it's all
No.
one-sided. I feel like the royal family is like very vulnerable, especially like with the whole Prince Andrew thing, like that just happened, and now this, like they really need nothing else but good press. Now I feel like I mean, to begin with, there shouldn't be any royals, if you ask me. Like with my American way of thinking, there shouldn't be a king, there shouldn't be a queen. In my opinion, once this queen is gone, that should be the end of the royals. Like make them do elections the way they do it here. If they're not voted or if they didn't fake the votes, whatever goes on, like you
I
know.
see how people are with like how the royals are and everything. And unpopular opinion, I was never one to like ever think of them as like these mighty people. They literally to me have been people born in their position. So to me, I'm whatever about them. You know what I mean? And like I said, we're talking about this because it's what's going on right now. And I was into the story just because am I surprised about what happened? No. You know,
Right.
did I see that coming? Absolutely. You know what I mean? And it's great. I still find it nuts how she didn't do any research at all. You know what I mean?
She should
But
have done research, at
she
least
should have,
Wikipedia.
but I mean, I'm thinking about it in my way too. Like, I still don't really know who they are. You know what I mean? Even if she did give names and who said what or treated her a certain way, I would have to Google it. You know what I mean? But I mean, Twitter has been showing pictures for me. So shout out to Twitter for that.
Shout out to Twitter. Twitter's on top of it. So they're having a girl. I mean, at least that's happy news. Shout out to
Oh yeah,
them.
they are having a girl. That I guess that's happy news. I mean, yeah, when someone has a kid, I guess that's always good.
You think they're gonna get like a basic name, like you know, like Elizabeth or Charlotte or something basic, or it's gonna be like something like unique, like Archie kind of
Who
thing?
knows? Archie was pretty cute.
That is
Who
a
knows? I hope so. I wonder what, but who knows? But how far is she? Because to
she's
be honest, I
beautiful
totally forgot she
feminine.
even had a first. I totally forgot she even had a first kid. To be honest, until she brought it up in an interview.
Yeah, I mean, she really protects the baby. Like, there's hardly any pictures out of that baby, but now we know why, because no one plans on protecting that baby. So it's like they kind
That's
of.
because. Do you think like the royals are gonna like respond to this or say anything about it, or if they're gonna ask her out completely? What do you think is gonna be the outcome of
I
this?
think their response to it was basically that little short response, so that the palace was deeply saddened. I think that was a response. And opening the investigation of her bullying is a response
Such a
in itself.
bullshit like response, and the fact that it's like her family and they all, like she said, they all know what happened and they all know the truth, and still no one is saying anything.
I mean,
Like what?
I feel like this isn't the ending. I feel like she still has more of a story to tell, and I feel like one day more of the truth is gonna come out, more than what came out today. I feel like.
Do you think they're gonna try to come after her,
Oh, for sure, for sure.
especially the
I
way
feel like
that
they're
Harry
planning a
said?
whole other car accident over there. Like I feel like they're coming for her.
Yeah, even like the way Harry said he feels like it's history repeating itself. That's just scary to think about.
It really is.
Like
Everyone, thanks for checking out Two Homos with 100 Thoughts. Make sure you come back. Hope you guys like.